dreaming a new horizon, and a day it all came true. Keller Williams, you make dreams come true. Home sweet home, oh home sweet home, home sweet home.
Welcome to another episode of Home Sweet Home with Russ, McClellan, and Friends. Here's your host, Russ McClellan.
Hey, good morning to everyone in the land of COVID. Wow. Seems like I say that every show. But I'll tell you what, it's one of those times of the year where thinking about positive things might be more important than thinking about negative things. And it's real easy for every one of us after 9+ months to focus on the darkness in the tunnel and not the light. Because, sometimes that darkness on both sides of us as we're going down that adversity tunnel is awfully prevalent. But if we concentrate and we look straight ahead and not look to the sides or backwards, sometimes we'll see a light. And that light, what I call is hope, confidence, gratitude, sincerity, integrity, honesty, all of these things that we all have as people, or at least we all hope we strive to have. And sometimes life is full of 3 steps forward, 2 steps, sometimes 2.75 steps backwards. Perhaps 2020 was that, but I want to tell you, I really think there's a tremendous amount of incredible people in our valley in north central Washington and around our state, around the Northwest and around the world, and around the United States of America. And regardless of a lot of things in this land of COVID, I think it's important to remember that together, we'll get through it, care about each other, show some grace, slow down a little bit, check down on the reactionary mode, and maybe fall into more strategic mode, realizing that hope is coming and that things will work out. Tough times do not last. Tough people do. All right, there's my sermon. Now we're going to get into some fun stuff called real estate. And I'm excited to introduce two of my great friends that real estate brought to me. And I've got them on the line, I believe. Brooke Fritz and Bella Fritz. Good morning.
Good morning, Russ.
Good morning, Russ.
Hey, man, you know what's fun is every time I got to share this with you, Bella. If you don't see, you probably do see from the Zoom calls and stuff, but no matter where Brooke Fritz is at, and Brooke's a real estate broker with us at Keller Williams, North Central Washington. He's been with us just over a little over a year. And no matter where I've ever met Brooke, from the moment I met him and Bella to today, I would describe you as, in one word, enthusiastic about life. You're just not a negative. You guys are just not negative people, right? And I thought about you this year because, man, if there's a year that there's some downers happening for small businesses, for people, for families, it's maybe this year, but it's also a time for gratitude and enthusiasm to fuel our lives with that positivity. So thank you for joining me this morning. How y'all feeling?
Oh, we're doing great. Thank you. Thank you for those kind words too. We're all pushing on the same side of the box here, Russ, in terms of both Bella and I have the philosophy of we have choices every day, with the moment we wake up, and our attitude is so important. And, sure, everyone's entitled to a bad day or a grumpy mood or whatever, but predominantly we try to be the light in anyone's life, for each other, for our clients, for strangers. The simplest act, a smile, a nod, good morning to a complete stranger. You have no idea what kind of life they're going through at that moment. Doesn't matter. We always just strive to be something positive in their life. It's just kind of how we live, and we do our best, but not always successful. But that may come across as enthusiasm, but I'd rather choose to be a light, a positive part in someone's life. If that means helping a fellow colleague in real estate, finding an answer that they don't know. And if I don't know it, we'll find it together kind of thing. And you've promoted that within our office, that mindset of abundance. I love that phrase. It so resonates with both of us.
Yeah, well, what I'd like to do today is this, and I appreciate those kind words as well, man. Here's the deal. I'd like to do two things. We've got 3 segments there, about 10, 11 minutes each, that we can talk with each other and everyone out there in the land of COVID is just going to be listening in to our conversation. And so I want to accomplish 2 things. One, I want to introduce you guys to our community, and so they can get to know you just a little bit as I know you. And the second thing I want to do is promote your real estate business, because you're a perfect inspirational example of someone that wasn't 20 years old when they got into real estate. In fact, had completely different careers. And Bella has a photography business, so obviously that's been affected through this last 7, 8, 9 months. And I thought, one of my missions, as I share all the time, is to transform lives, to get people the opportunity to live that life they deserve and they want, using real estate as the vehicle to do it. And that's been kind of my main goal as the operating partner and designated broker of Keller Williams Realty here in North Central Washington, but also just, in my life. That's where I focus on abundance so much, like you mentioned, versus that scarcity mindset, which is jealousy and envy. And for me to win, you got to lose mentality. And I just don't believe in that. So could we start by just talking a little bit about who you guys are and specifically, how do you guys stay so happy together? It's awesome. Does he not ever put his dirty laundry on the couch or anything, Bella? Like, what? This guy's got to have some chinks in his armor somewhere. So help
you
help
don't
us
know
out.
the half of it. I do plenty to aggravate my wife, but she's very, very forgiving and graceful. There's you mentioned having more grace in this time of COVID and so forth. Absolutely. We all need to try, because, it's impacted everybody in every facet. But, getting back to, our background, where we started, Bella's been a photographer professionally for 11 years, primarily weddings. And needless to say, with COVID, we had 2020 solidly booked. I shoot second for her, so I help her with the, back office, director of operations. I'm the communication side of the company. She's really the visual creative. And so we work very well together. So, long story short, 2020, after our first wedding was February 20th, and that was our last wedding. It never would have seen that coming. And, it was a scramble for one to revisit our contracts to make sure that we had the proper language in there that would handle something like a pandemic. That never been a part of our vocabulary, until then. So we had to, take a revisit to our contract. Thank goodness we had hired, a photography attorney and had great contracts. Didn't have to make any changes there, but we had to deal with the emotions of brides whose dreams were crushed overnight. And we wound up, fortunately, rescheduling most into 2020, but some couldn't. They absolutely had to get married. Husbands heading off to the military, things like that, other issues. So it was emotionally taxing to be normally part of the happiest day of people's lives. And now we're dealing with, brides crying or parents crying and so forth. And
working harder trying to mend it.
Yeah. So that, but Bella and I are a team, and so we would deal with that on the emotional side. And we're very grateful that, in hard times, the photography was our bread and butter, because it kind of segued to my background. I came from a technology background, Russ. So I was in telecommunications, hardware, and software sales. That landscape has changed dramatically, and I'm talking even pre-COVID. Once you hit a certain age, you're considered not valuable, but expendable. Ageism is very real in the software industry. And, I'm not going to go down a political road or a soapbox, but I was the recipient of mergers, acquisitions, and downsizing more than a few times. And, meanwhile, in the background, Bella and I also are investors. We really have always believed in real estate. We dabbled in the stock market, got burned in the .com, .gone era. And so we really focused our portfolio on buildings, on land, on real estate. Because Bella is such a great visual creative, she also has designed every remodel we've ever done. And fortunately, I have a construction background, so she'd design it, I would build it, tear it down, remodel, whatever. And so, we're pre-Chip and Joanna Gaines. I'm not giving ourselves a plug, but I feel so blessed and grateful to recognize and appreciate her skills, because they're not mine. But she also inversely does the same. She's like, honey, can you build X? Can you tear that down? Is that load bearing? And we work it out together. So we've done a lot of personal investing, buy and flip, buy and hold, mostly buy and hold, because we really love the passive income of rental properties and so forth. Meanwhile, while all that's going on, Bella, also being the business sense of our partnership, honey, you should get your real estate license. When we buy a home, it would be great if you could just, not just save money, but just have the intelligence and the knowledge of the markets and so forth, and trends and the tools. And yeah. Okay. I'll do that. Well, like a lot of husbands, I'm not quick to the uptake, in terms of action. And Bella kind of got to a point, and I need that sometimes. It's like, are you going to do this or not? And it's like, you're right. I should do this. So grateful, Russ, because real estate has been our quote unquote salvation in 2020, because the wedding photography isn't happening. We've got a couple of small shoots, but that's not the bread and butter that we are accustomed to. So grateful to make that transition to real estate.
Well, that's amazing that we talked not that long ago about how real estate has really been, the word you use is salvation. And, that's one of our goals. As we wrap up this first segment, Brooke, here's what I'd like to do as we move into the second segment. I'd like to kind of, fast forward from where you were to where you started, which is where we're at right now. Get your real estate license right now. And then let's talk that from Bella. And then let's talk about what that's done for your life. When we come back on our show, Home Sweet Home with Russ McClellan and friends. And today, my friends are Brooke and Bella Fritz. They're amazing humans, and they're with us at Keller Williams Realty, North Central Washington. We'll be back in just a few seconds.
Keller Williams, you make dreams come true.